Hi viewers, the video that you're about to watch right now has a lot of graphic images that might be a little bit uncomfortable. Nevertheless, we just want to use it to pass this message. Drug addiction is bad. It can destroy you. Our guess, you will see how far that this has, almost took his life, almost destroyed him, got him into very deep mess. I know you want to continue. Watch this video to the end. We need to save these people. We need to stand for them. We need to help them. This story is going to help a lot of people to stand out from drug addiction. Drug addiction can destroy. Drug addiction can end your destiny. No child should be allowed. It is better you don't start it at all than to want to get out. So please make sure you watch this video to the end. Viewers' discretion is highly advised. Thank you.
Our soul is escaped as a bird from the snare of the fowler. The snare is broken and we are escaped. Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. Welcome to Free Soul Podcast. I still have with me our Free Soul. In the last two episodes that we had, Abraham is still in the house. But this time around, in the last episode, we began to look his journey into addiction. And he told us so many things. Please, if you have not watched any of those episodes, please go back. You will be able to understand where he's coming from. And in this episode, you'll be able to appreciate the story more. Today, we're going to be looking at the effect. What happened to him when the addiction, he talked so much about, how he had to borrow money, how he had to sell so many of his things, but the negative effect, what effect it had, especially in his health. So please join me, welcome Abraham once again as he continues in his journey into addiction. Abraham, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, please. Thank you very much for at least finding time to stay behind to, because when we started the journey into your addiction, we saw the need for people to understand, to know the effect, the negative effect. In fact, the effect, because there is no positive effect at all. The effect of, the addiction, how it really affected your health. So this episode, you'll be telling us how that addiction really affected your health. Please just go ahead.
Okay. First, please, everyone, you just have to pardon me. I'm a bit cold. Since I came to the States, it's just been one rain after another, so my voice is not as clear as before. So pardon me. Now, where we stopped the last time, I mentioned that there was a point I was taking about 6 packs, percent of the injection every day.
Can you rephrase and let us know the name of that particular drug that you are using?
I would rather not.
Okay.
Listen, I would rather not.
Why?
For safety reasons. Because so many people don't know these things and don't know the name of these drugs and just have curiosity about it. So when you give them a preference, they out of curiosity they want to experiment. So most times in my interviews and all that, I only mention the popular names and don't mention specific.
So supposing they stumble into this drug, you understand me? Because you, from your story, you accidentally stumbled into, you didn't know that this drug would be addictive. All you knew that this drug was going to take care of your pains. And before, so supposing someone, just like you in your ignorance, the chemist administer that drugs to you. You understand me? And it began. So if someone gets to know the name of that drug, when that drug is about to be administered to him or her, he should be able to take precaution.
I think we actually still tackled that in the last episode.
Okay.
That was where I was mentioning about a pharmacy.
Okay.
Understand? A chemist and a medicine store.
So the best advice for everybody,
Anybody.
don't patronize these chemists.
I won't really say don't patronize. I would say that go to a pharmacy that have a pharmacist, except if maybe you have a prescription from a doctor. Then you can go to the medicine store and give them the prescription for them to give you exactly what the doctor wrote. But on your own, understand, don't take medications without first seeing a professional. And to see a pharmacist in a pharmacy is free. Understand? So knowing the name of the drug, there are so many ones out there that cause such damage.
Okay.
And you escape this one. What makes you think that? Yes. So the major issue is the root.
Okay.
Because the way we were raised, particularly for me, is when growing up, go meet nurse, may nurse give you paracetamol. Or, madam, miss 200 naira drugs for this, like that. You get, but if we knew better, possibly, because the orientation we had there was, na big man, they go hospital. Understand? We have money to go hospital. Na big man, they run tests. But when you go to see a pharmacist, he asks you, what symptoms are you feeling? Okay, this. And these people are certified. Understand? They were trained for that. They will know they will ask you questions. What allergies do you have? What allergies do you have? Are you diabetic? Do you have ulcer? Do you have this? Do you have that? To be sure of whatsoever they're giving you is safe. And they document it and say, go get this. And it's free.
It's okay. But don't you also think that one should first go to the doctor, see a doctor first?
There are some situations, especially here in Nigeria, where people don't have that luxury. Our medical insurance scheme is not as active as it is in the Western society. And here, for you to see a doctor, you need to take a card, open a folder,
Pay for
pay
consultation.
for consultation. And imagine a market woman, understand, that is just barely surviving on a daily basis. You get, why would you think that she will want to spend that kind of money, go through that stress, understand, to see a doctor that will still end up writing drugs for her to go and buy? Because the doctor will not treat you. The doctor will, out of the symptoms you feel, will say, okay, let's administer this drugs. Understand? So most times when they do this first time and they see that now the only thing when doctor do be that, you get, now the only thing when doctor do be that, it will now look more like I just wasted money. So most times I think overrunning of tests, if the situation, that's why I hear sometimes it's be like by the time we rush and reach UPTA, the person don't die. Because most times these people, we wait for the symptoms to get out of hand first before rushing to the hospital. So when you see a pharmacist, this pharmacist will let you know, okay, with these symptoms, you need to run a test. Understand? We'll give you something to subside these symptoms for now, or run a test so that we'll know what we are treating.
In other words, go see a doctor.
Actually, running a test, you don't need to see a doctor for it.
Okay.
Understand? Even a pharmacist can recommend a test for you. If you're feeling symptoms of malaria, you can go to a test and be like, I want to run malaria test. You don't need the doctor's prescription for that. If you're feeling a particular kind of way, they'll know what to. But the thing is, if you can afford to see, I'm speaking on the terms of those people beneath, understand, like in the lower part of the society that are finding it difficult.
All right. Let's just go straight to, the effects now. At least you have been able to establish some things that it is very, very important to see a pharmacist, a trained pharmacist, than going to all these chemists. Or rather, is if you have prescription from a doctor, you can go purchase your drugs from any of the chemists. But if you need, someone to give you accurate prescription, see a pharmacist, a certified
pharmacist
pharmacist.
or a
So
doctor. If you can't afford a doctor,
fine.
see a pharmacist.
Okay, now back to the question that I asked you. So how did it affect you health wise? I know you have talked about in the last episode how it affected you financially,
Yes.
which I know so many people definitely, because for you to get when you start having the how do they put it, when you start having the effect, the okay, let me just use a local word. When you start jonesing, you look for money to quickly get yourself high. But there's another effect apart from the financial effect that it had on you, and it has on so many other people. So
I
please.
think in the drug realm, in the drug society, what they call that Johnson, or it's called craving.
Craving, okay.
So when the craving comes, it's like when you desire for something, when the craving comes. So now, apart from the mental part, stand disorientating me mentally, my physical health was also at risk. At some point, I noticed that my body started swelling. Then most of the injection points, we gather blisters. Now, instead of them, when they burst, instead of them to heal, they start decaying. So it kept on like that. You see all the scars on my hands right now? That was how it started. So because my immune system was seriously down already, there was nothing fighting. It was more like the body was not decaying from inside out. So at that point in time, I ran a couple of tests and it told me I was diagnosed with chronic skin ulceration. Now, the cause of the challenge is the drugs I was taking. And because no other painkiller works for me, I had to depend on that drugs to relieve me of pain. And the more I take that drugs, the more I'm dying. So it was more like I was stuck in a loop. See, how do I put it this way? This is what's causing the problem. We all know this was causing the problem. And the problem causes an unmeasurable degree of pain that I can't bear. And in order for me to feel okay, understand, to be able to cope with the problem, I have to take what is causing the problem. So it's more like I'm moving in circles. But how I wish these circles were just stagnant. It was not stagnant. That's one thing about drug addiction. You move in circles and you're digging yourself deeper into the ground. You're deep, like you're going deeper, like you're burying yourself into the ground. Now, at the end of everything, my body started decaying, offensive, and funny enough, that was the period where I came back from service. Mommy Kemi was helping me to teach me how to figure out professional CV, so that I can start looking for a job and all. Funny enough, I got a job in an oil servicing company that period. I lost the job because of the same issue. Because over a period of time, sometimes I'll leave my office, I have to go to the restroom to go inject myself. Over a period of time, offensive odors started coming out from my body because my body, I'm following it. By then, there was no wound yet, but the offensive odor was coming out seriously. So if I pass through here, even then, because my salon was still functional, I was still working in the office. When I close from work, I'll go to the salon. Now, if I pass through here, you would think it's maybe a decayed corpse. And then there was no wound on my body yet. That's to show the effect then. So before we knew it, the effect became external. Then blisters will gather, burst. So for it to heal, it start decaying. Decayed to the extent my bones of my hand start showing and revealing. Same with my leg, my right leg, left leg. At some point, I couldn't walk anymore. I had to help myself walk, moving around with walking stick. From walking stick, I subjected myself to wheelchair. And even at this point, because there was a point that I could not, that's the bad part about injection. It steals your self-esteem, steals your self-worth, steals your sense of reality. When I couldn't find veins, because I was taking this injection intravenously. For those of us that don't know what intravenous means, IV, that's through the vein, intravenous. While IM is intravascular, which is on your muscle. So any injection they give to you on your muscle, that's IM. Any injection they have to trace your vein, tie your hand to trace your vein, that's IV. So I was taking my own IV through the vein because that one was faster. Once you take it, you feel the effect immediately. But IM is too slow. Listen, and when that craving comes, you don't have that patience. I just rushed up and I'll inject myself. At some point, I couldn't find any vein anymore. The last time they did surgery for me, they couldn't put me to sleep and they couldn't put me give me drip because they couldn't find the vein. I've used up all the vein from head to toe. God forbid of any emergency right now that I need transfusion and all that. The last time they were even luckily able to get something was through my neck. When I couldn't find vein, I didn't even know there was veins at the palm of my hand until that addiction thing actually started. I started injecting tiny veins on my hand. I will inject it. Understand? I will inject it. And at that point in time, anywhere I could find vein, it became so bad that at some point I was even injecting the veins on my testicles. Because when the craving comes, you just want it bad. Imagine me strangling myself just so that veins can pop out of my face. I had to look for a rope. I'll strangle, like I'll tie my neck for it to be tight so that veins can pop out. I'll not stand by mirror. I start using the syringe. It just looked like I became a professor in my own personal anatomy overnight. Listen, I'll just look for vein that will pop out by its side. I'll just use the mirror, I'll trace it, stretch out if there's blood, then inject myself. I didn't care of any consequences. All I needed at that point in time was to satisfy the craving, to satisfy the craving, to satisfy the craving. And I hated myself for doing. I know how many times I've told God that I will never do this again. If I do this again, kill me.
Right. And the craving keeps coming.
The thing is, you just finish praying right now, telling God, God, no, I will never do this again. And the next thing you know, once the craving comes, you forget all the prayers you're doing just a few seconds ago. And the next thing that enters your head is, how do I buy this? How do I get money to buy this? How do I buy this? How do I get money to buy this? Like that. It is after you finish, you just become like as if you're being controlled by a remote at that point in time. You become desperate to look for money. You're moving up and down, looking for how do I get it? How do I get it? And once you get it and you take it, understand, and feel that euphoria again, now look as if, I'm not myself again. Then you now realize that, I promised myself I will never do this again. Before you know, you start crying, you start regretting, you start hating yourself. And that's another strategy, the emotional trauma that comes with being an addict. That's another angle that Satan uses in hooking you down. Because at that point, the more you dwell in that self-blame, that you hating your self-hate, understand? You begin to lose your strength to fight. You begin to feel like trash. That's why you see that most drug addicts, understand, higher percentage of them attempt suicide. Because they hate what they are doing. They don't want to live that life. But it just seems like they are helpless. They are helpless. So even at that point when my body was decaying, I showed you my body the last time.
Yeah.
When my body was decaying.
We'll see that. We're going to show it.
There's something I want to show you. Listen. Then when this whole place, understand? When this whole place was actually open, understand? Here you can see it's direct contact to the bone. Just little skin that just filled it up here. Then that was how the stuff got to this extent, because I was still injecting it. I couldn't find vein in my body anymore. So what I'll do is I'll look for a healthy skin tissue. Any healthy skin tissue that is red. So I will inject it, I will draw to see if I'll see blood. If blood flows, it means okay, that can serve. I will inject that place. Understand? Immediately it goes straight to my bloodstream. And the terrible part was that anywhere you inject dies. Anywhere, if a particular tissue is here now, I inject that place. In the next few minutes, that place will turn black. It will die. The skin tissues there dies. But I didn't care. There was a time on this leg here, I was injecting into the bone
Kai.
out of desperation to get access to healthy skin tissues. I was dying and I didn't care.
And all that time, as you inject these things, you feel those pains because you are injecting on a fresh wound.
Now, the interesting part of that's one thing about craving. You know, there's a funny way the mind works. If you're too focused on a particular thing, let's say you're so focused on this conversation now,
Yeah.
a mosquito or an ant might be biting you, you won't feel it
Yeah.
until your mind goes back to where it was. That's when you feel it. That's just how it is. At that point in time, the pain you're feeling is nothing compared, understand, to the euphoria you're craving for. So the pain does. Do you know how painful it is to be injecting your palm or the veins in between your fingers? How painful it is. But still, all you're willing to go through that pain. Even sometimes you might even start putting gymnastic quotes like "no pain, no gain."
Oh God.
No pain, no gain. For me to gain that euphoria, I need to go through the pain. So it's not at the end of everything, you taking it, understand, you feeling that euphoria again, it's like, you forget about the pain that ever happened. So all you're craving for at that point in time is the euphoria. So before you knew it, I lost my job. Because then if I entered the office, they had to open the windows, understand? And since the office was actually AC'd, understand? So the
Yes.
offensive order was circulating fast. So whenever I come, they'll be like, I should start using perfume. What's up with this new body odor? And all that. I'll try spraying so many perfume.
But they didn't know what you were going through.
Going through.
They just, to them, they felt that you had body odor.
odor. So imagine that kind of stuff. So at a point in time, they had to hold a board meeting. And at the end of the board meeting, they told me to wait behind. And like, what exactly is wrong with me? And I ran some tests and all that and all that. And that was how I lost the job. So they told me, okay, go treat yourself, understand? Just in order for them not to feel like they are being discriminatory and all that, go treat yourself. When you finish recovering, you come back. Because we can't take the risk because I was in a statistics and logistics. It's an oil servicing company. So most times when we have orders from the rig and all that, we are the ones that go out into the market to make surveys and all that.
Yes.
So they say that they can't risk me being out in the open in
Their
the
customers.
survey, understand? And also I collapse. What happens? At that point is that if I collapse in the midst of making surveys in the market, understand? The company cannot be held accountable for that. So I should go treat myself and come back. Okay. Then I made that effort, and the treating of self started with 1 week, 1 week to 6 months, 6 months to 1 year, 1 year. For all you knew, it's 6 years have passed.
Of course, they will get someone. They will get a quick replacement.
Yes, 6 years have passed. So I didn't just now. At that point in time, psychologically, it was draining me. I used to be a very jovial person, very playful.
Of course, of course.
I can hardly enter anywhere that people are moody.
I know you for
this
that.
lively.
Yes.
Understand?
I know you for
I'll
that.
just come, even if you don't want to laugh, I'll jest with you until you laugh. But funny enough, that same me became a shadow of myself. I couldn't even make myself smile, talking less of making others smile. I was always on my own, but that's one of the things you notice about when it comes to drug addiction. When your children start involving these things, number one, they get unnecessarily excited over nothing, and also they become secluded. Listen, they become secluded from everyone else. This time around, I would just sit in one place. Like there was one day that my mom saw me. Then I was in my family house, and my mom started crying. I was just sitting in one place like this for like an hour plus. I was just staring at. I was not staring at anything. I was just in my own head. Just sat down. I wasn't moving. Nothing was. My eyes were open. I'll just blink. Normal. I'll just be facing the wall. And while facing the wall, like hallucinations. Understand? You just be hallucinating and all that. So I was no longer living in reality. Like I told you the other time that right now, despite that I've been clean for 2 years, I'm still readjusting back to reality again. I'm readjusting to how it being normal again. It's strange to be normal again. It's strange to be able to be in the midst of people again. Imagine back then whereby I have money, I want to buy food, but they will not allow me to go in to buy food. I'm not coming to beg you for food. I have the money. I want to pay. But they will not let because of my condition then. Because of my condition. So it was more like I was a living zombie. So I was literally a living zombie. And I lost my friends, lost my relationship, lost my business because since I lost my company work, it was literally supposed to be my hair salon business I was supposed to focus on. But with the state I was, customers were not complaining.
Of
like,
course, because you
understand?
get close to them.
Yes. So I started losing customers. At some point, when I became so broke whereby I would no longer be receiving incomes through patronage, I had to start selling off properties. So a bike that was worth, if plus or minus, I told you the other time, a bike that was worth close to 850,000 or so, sold it for 35,000 naira. Just to be able to purchase the drug. My 60 inches, sold it for 15,000 naira.
Wow.
Same with my family size phone bed. And it was over my landlord that bought it from me. So after that period, it became quite challenging for me. Because it became so bad that waking up in the morning, the first thing I have to do is to start cleaning maggots out of my body.
Oh my God.
Up to today, I still find it difficult to eat white rice. Because except if I turn the whole rice and stew all together like jollof rice, I find it difficult to eat because seeing the grain of rice, understand, the first thing it triggers is I'll think it's maggots. That was how traumatized I was for years. Understand? Sometimes if I feel something moving on my body, it triggers that fear of, is maggot climbing in my body again? But that was something that I was, like, it was a constant experience for me. Constant experience for me. So sometimes I have to use needle mouth to start picking maggots because sometimes they eat into your flesh and remain in there. So how you know most times if the flesh is moving, understand? I'll have to use needle mouth and start picking them off. So that was how terrible the situation was.
That was a very terrible experience. You see, that is why I will always say this: prevention is far cheaper than cure. But there's a way you put it that don't even go to it at all. Don't even try it at all. You see what, I could really resonate with you. You understand me? In addiction, like in one of my videos, I talked about how I got addicted to masturbation. So that craving, even when I got born again, I was still preaching. I will always still have that craving to, watch pornography. I will always have that craving, to masturbate, even as a Christian. I remember sometimes, after I've done that, I will go back to God. I will cry, and I'll vow to God that I will never do that. I will never go back. But after some time, that craving, so that is how it is in every form of addiction. When you are addicted to anything, you have this unquenchable craving, and you know the consequence. You understand. That's one thing about addiction. You understand that, you understand the consequence of what you are doing, but because you are craving for it, you want to quench that craving. Look at what this young man went through. Look at the kind of pains, look at the kind of trauma he went through. He was isolated. He was, not, in fact, I won't say he was discriminated. It was people began to, isolate him, but because of the kind, and mind you, at first, it wasn't his intention. His intention was not to get high. His intention then was to kill the pains. So he began to do self-medication, and self-medication led him to addiction. I want to really, talk to you. Please be careful. Be careful, especially, okay, if his own was not intentional, what about some people?
Intentional.
Yes, some
Like
people.
I usually say most times, I think I mentioned it the last time, that it doesn't matter how you start.
Yeah.
The route in which you take, it doesn't matter. It's the destination.
Nah.
Understand? You came through west, you came through north, by mistake, by experimentation, by curiosity, and all that. It doesn't matter.
So don't experiment.
The effect is the same.
It's the same.
Do you think the damage was soft on me and be like, okay, say intentionally join me, so because you don't intentionally, I'll take a easy on you. Yeah. No, the effect is the same.
It's the same thing with those that intentionally did it and those that did not do it
Yes.
intentionally.
Yes.
So the best thing is don't experiment.
The only difference most times is when it comes to recovery. Understand? That's the where most times that can really matter. Because sometimes when you intentionally go these things, you can be in denial. So you can be in denial. I think that's the only way it matters. Understand? The part is the same. It's just like, how do I put it? This long, it is like a talking drum that have rope that you feel like this.
Yeah.
Here is round, here is round.
Yes.
And you hold on to the middle. Now, this is the entrance. Or let's say a funnel. I think a funnel is a better example.
Okay.
Understand? It doesn't matter if you flow into the pipe through this way, through this way, through this way. It is still the same pipe. All of you will go through. Now, the escape routes right now, only few. It's not the same crowd that leaves the same side. Understand? It's not the same. It's not the same thing. So most times you pour in different routes, you can go in, but the narrow, it will squeeze the rest, to squeeze you, and when you want to come out at the other end, most times it have grinded you. But how you come out might be different from how the next person comes out. But it always starts with, number one, acceptance. You have to first of all accept that you have a problem. Then, when you accept you have a problem, don't keep it to yourself. Seek for help.
All right. I think at this junction, we will pause a little bit and come back. But like I said, if you have not watched the last edition, please go back to the last edition, 2 editions. You will understand better. Then, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do that. We're going to be bringing in more, we're going to be, exploring more. Now, in case you want to reach in, I'm going to put down the, inside the description box, how to reach in. And we're also going to be showing you a lot of things. But for now, I need you to sit down. We're going to be talking about now his journey into freedom. But please, as we meet next time, just hold on. And I know there is hope for that person that is addicted right now watching us. There is hope. All hope is not lost. So when we come to talk about his journey out, you will discover that there is hope, that you can be free.
True.
And that is why we are here. So please,
and don't forget to like,
yes,
subscribe, and share.
So please please subscribe to this channel, like this channel, and moreover, we need your comments. We need to, you probably, there are certain things you want us to, clarify, or certain things, that questions you want to ask, or you want to also contribute, you want to say something that will also help somebody. Please just go to the comment section and put down your comment, and we'll begin to take it from here. Don't forget, stand out, don't blend.